We are Wednesday, the 26th of August 2015. I will continue my reading and my commentaries. Oh, I need my paper about my commentary. Just a second. Okay, it's my little paper. When I make the distinction between this and this. Like you know, I'm not bilingual. I will make some errors with words, with pronunciation. If you want all my introductory to this teaching, these readings, you can watch the video lesson 35. I have recorded lesson 35, lesson 34, 33, 32, and today it's 31. I just want to say before beginning that I'm in a special inner state. There are two persons, one woman and one man, who contacted me by email recently, and they tell me different things that I think that it's false, a false story, and they have not good intention, and it's very difficult to prove that. My intuition, my inner feeling tell me that they lie, but I ask to the Divine Presence to help me to prove that, to stop that rapidly. If one day I have the confirmation of all that, I would be able to explain all in details, but now I have to live with my doubts that maybe it's true and maybe it's not true, and the result of that, if it's true, could have a lot of repercussions. But if it's false, it's just a lie and nothing of that exists. If you think that you have a tool to know rapidly when somebody lied to you by email with a story, please contact me at Julie de Montreal, a commercial, gmail.com, and I will be glad to receive your tool with that. Okay. We are in the third part of the book, The Way of Knowing here. Before it was The Way of the Heart, The Way of Transformation, and the third part, The Way of Knowing, of the book, The Way of Mastery. You have all the information on that on my website, Everyoneweb, /The Way of Mastery. Lesson 31. Placing your trust and loyalty in love. Beloved and holy friends, as always, and though I have repeated this to you often, I say it to you again and yet again, it is with joy that I come forth to abide with you. For relationship is the holiest of all places. Relationship between any two who choose to look upon each other, having looked within and found no lack. For those two can then look out upon one another and see only perfect innocence, only perfect peace, only perfect love. Therefore, it is with joy that I join with you, for I look upon you with perfect peace and perfect love and perfect trust. My loyalty to you is unshakable. No event that occurs in the realm of your space and time, can taint the loyalty which I know to the depth of truth, that is your very self, that which is unshakable, unchanging, unchangeable, and unchanged forever. For my loyalty is perfectly pure. My trust of you is unfathomable and immeasurable. How can this be so? For perhaps, even now, your mind says, well, yes, but last week I got a little angry with my spouse, and three weeks ago I forgot to pay for that candy bar I pick up in the store. Since I'm such a horrible person, your loyalty, Yeshua, is misplaced. Just a second, I want to check something. Okay, no. It's strange because little commentary. It's like if I have read this, but I have read this, but just for me, not for the video, and I was not sure that it was the right lesson that I had to read now. So I will continue. It's just that recently I finished to read the book for another time, and I will start again and do more and more the spiritual exercises, because sometimes we read and we don't stop to do the exercises or to do them in the weeks. So I will re-begin, but now I have a feeling that I have read that for you, but no, I think it's not in video, it was just for me. Okay. My trust in you emerges from my trust in my Father. My trust in you emerges from the perfect knowledge that you belong only to that one that I have called Abba. My trust, then, is the expression of what I have come to know as I have looked into the depth of my own being, both within my physical incarnation that became rather famous, and also since then, where I discovered the perfection of love that pervades all things and can be seen beneath the surfaces and through the appearances that the body's eyes and the ego's thought system would show to you. What do I mean by that? As you abide in your physical world, the greatest challenge that you have, moment to moment and moment to moment, is to be vigilant against identifying with the perceptions which are born and birthed as a result of the physical apparatus of the body itself. That is, you look out through a body, that is where your attention seems to be. Your apparatus, called your eyes, immediately shows you a world of objects separated by space. If you identify with that level of perception, you can only conclude that you are separate, one from another. When you see events happening, it is absolutely impossible to see the subtle interconnection of all events. You fall into the trap of forgetting that you live in the universe. And universe means simply one turning or one song, one event occurring like an ocean is but one event, expressing as many waves. So too do all events in the field of space and time. In the field of physical matter merely emerge from that one universe. From the body's level of perception, the thinking mind, in association with the body, creates interpretation of what it believes it is seeing. And now your attention, your awareness is already twice removed from reality. First, you have become hoodwinked, thinking that what the body's eyes show you is what is truly real and significant. For instance, you love someone. They are here today and tomorrow they leave. You see them pack their things and their body leaves. And your eyes show you that they are gone. Then the mind says, "Who is me? I have lost my love." Neither of these is true. The soul, the level at which reality is far deeper than the level of the body, can never go anywhere. No one you have ever met or known can ever be outside of your heart through his or her own action. The body-mind, yes, can leave, but that is not what takes someone out of your heart. It can only be your decision to withdraw love. It is only the withdrawing of love that creates separation in the experience of your awareness. Just a little commentary. When we are in love, a new loving relationship, for example, or a new friendship, it's evident that we have in our heart the other person, because even if this man or this woman is not there, we think about him or about her. We have emotions. We do some plans. We have some desires. The thought of this person fills our heart, our mind, our soul. So in different situations, we can very truly verify that it's not only with the physical presence that we live an experience with a person, but what is inside of us, of her or him, it's very, very important also. And it's the same also if we are afraid, or if we, for example, if we think that something can happen to a person, that the situation of the health is in danger, you will think also about this person. You will search to help or to find what could be the best for her or for him, because you want the best. You feel the link with the person. So if it's a relationship of fear, of insecurity, of love, of doubt, like I said at the beginning of the video, we have a lot of thoughts and feelings in link with people around us, inside of us. They live inside and they live outside of us. So, you are now sitting 2 levels removed from reality. First, you have become hoodwinked, thinking that the physical eyes show you what is true. Then, you draw conclusions and create interpretations of the events the body's eyes show you. This creates the emotional effect that is like a soup that runs through you and around you and will remain so until it is healed. The third level of being removed from reality is the trick of the mind, in which it insists that its interpretations are fact. It is to this level of the mind that I ask within A Course in Miracles, would you rather be right or happy? For happiness can only be the result of perfect trust. And perfect trust emerges from perfect loyalty. And perfect loyalty emerges spontaneously in the mind that has rested in surrender. We have spoken often of the keys to the kingdom. desire, intention, allowance, surrender. In allowance, you go through a period of deep undoing in which you disconnect the wiring that has led you to insist on the rightness of the interpretations that you have created and then linked to the two events that the physical body-mind has perceived. So, as allowance is perfected, one has come to see that their whole world, everything they have constructed, has been undone. That is your perception of belief, your perception of feeling nature, your perception of what is has been undone. The mind is unraveled. Now, the perception of the body-mind, of course, goes on. The physical eyes seem to show you that there is someone in another body over there, and they are doing what they are doing, and you are doing what you are doing, so there cannot be any connection. That level goes on as long as there is a body. However, the mind that is healing does not identify that as the primary level of reality. So, all allowance surrenders the construct that has been made up in the mind and exists nowhere but in the mind. One rests in an unobstructed allowance of how the body-mind goes through its states until it returns to dust. But there is no longer a being hoodwinked, no longer being attached, no longer being swept up with that level of identification, because there is no longer a need to identify with the interpretations. And there is no longer, quite happily, any need to be right. As allowance comes to completion, something quite magical occurs. It is beyond all comprehension of the thinking mind. The ego could never comprehend this. It is as though something that was existing, because it was contracted in fear, dies and dissolves like the mist before a rising sun. And all that is left is a quiet spaciousness in which awareness has been purified. Events still arise and pass away. One continues to talk with their friends, perhaps as they always have. One notices the tendency in the body-mind to create interpretations, and some of them are quite necessary. That light just turned red. My interpretation is that it might be wise to stop. But there is now something that is wrapped around all of that, so that what is arising is seen as ultimately quite inconsequential, quite innocent, and devoid of any deep value. For you will place your loyalty on what you have decided to value. And in that spaciousness, in that perfect stillness, in that deep peace, mind or selfhood dissolves in surrender. Anyone who has awakened knows exactly what that feels like. Anyone who has begun to awaken has touched one moment of perfect surrender. For in surrender, the mind beholds that all things that are arising and passing away are perfectly harmless. They can hold no value because they abide in time, and the things of time are like the waves that arise from the ocean. Because they have a beginning, they will have an end. In their beginning, their end is certain. Only a fool would create loyalty to that which is temporary, temporal, and ultimately unfulfilling. But the wise of heart have decided to place their value on that which is eternal. And what can be eternal save God? And God is but love. Therefore, in the way of the heart, and in the way of transformation, and now in the way of knowing, all that we have sought to share with you has been by design to lead you to see that love is the only thing worth valuing. Love is unconditional. Love merely loves in order to abide in its own nature. And because God is but love, as the mind disentangles itself from the perceptual level of the body-mind, from the interpretations selected and created in the mind and overlaid upon those events, and especially as it disentangles itself from the egoic need to be right about its makings, that which you are, pure intelligence, pure infinite creative possibility, shifts itself into being identified only with valuing love. This is the same thing as saying, I value only God. Then, the soul begins to reawaken. The soul, this drop of pure light, which is pure intelligence, begins to realize that to know God, it must be God. And since God is only love, the soul desires to be only love. For in loving as God loves, God is known. As God is known, self is realized and remembered, and the dream of the dreamer is transcended. Therefore, indeed, beloved friends, my trust in you is perfect. For I have come to value only God. My loyalty to you as the offspring of my Father stems from having received that enlightenment for myself, having awakened from the maze, the complex web of perceptions in the body-mind, the interpretations that the body-mind places on events, and the ego's construct of what it feels it is right about. Because I have dissolved all of that, I abide in pure devotion only to what is truly real and perfectly unconditional, the presence of my Father, which is the same as the presence of love, the presence of my mother, the presence of love, the presence of my Father, Mother, Divine Father, Mother. It's the presence of love. Where have you placed your loyalty? Indeed, then, look well then to see what you have chosen to be loyal to. And if you have chosen to be loyal to something of the world, you have actually been using loyalty as a way to overcome fear. Think about it. I have often said that what is not love is only fear. In a state of love, there is no clinging, there is no denial, there is nothing obstructed in the nature of the body's experience. One renders unto Caesar that which is Caesar's. One sweats in the hot summer sun. One simply is where one is. But the mind, the essence of your identity, is as love. All of the rest of it is superfluous. And so, you find yourself in a maze of events called space and time. By this, I mean you find yourself going to a job. You find yourself in a certain third-dimensional relationship. But you are not hoodwinked into thinking that this place, this context, is the all. It is only an opportunity for you to be the one who loves in the midst of that context, simply for the sake of knowing love. The carrier, or the mate, or the car, or the garden, or the boat can come and go, for whatever is begun in time ends in time. But your delight is in loving and embracing and being the field in which these events rise and fall. Just a little comment also. In the past, we may have experienced good things and bad things, or with good feelings and not good feelings with some persons of your family, friends, co-workers, and we have the tendency to remember the not very interesting things in our memory. But what is very important and good is to remember what was good, what was in the field of love with these persons, and or how we could love them. And if we didn't love them a lot, how we could love them now. And sometimes with love in thoughts, if it's not love in actions. So in every moment of our life, there is variations of feelings, but it's very important to don't put too much attention on the dark points and to put more attention of the white ones or the loving points in every being, and to mention that to them, what we love in them, what we appreciate. And with that, this part will grow with the law of attraction. If we think so much, or if we talk so much about the negative points, with the law of attraction, that will come again and again. Okay? If you are loyal to a person, place, or thing, look well to see. Is there underneath a fear that you have not yet been honest about? Are you being loyal in order to have this person, place, or thing approve of you and stay with you so that you get something that you want? And there is nothing wrong with that. Do not think that because you look and see. You know, the bottom line is, I really like this job and the $120,000 a year that it pays me. I really like the sense of security that gives me. That there is anything wrong, it doesn't mean you have to give it up and go live penniless on the street. What matters is that you become perfectly honest with what you are doing and withdraw the tendency of the mind to say, well, I'm really doing this career because I believe that the product that we create is making a huge impact on the planet. I believe we can really make things different. And besides, we give jobs and we give money to charities. That's why I'm here. Oh, nonsense. In the world, you will do what you do because of where you place your value. This is why I have often said, if you want to know truly what you idolize, what you are committed to, what you most deeply believe, merely look at where you are, who you are with, and what you are doing with your time, and how you feel about it truthfully. Those that insist on saving up money for a rainy day are merely stating, I believe there can be a rainy day unless I do something to prevent it. Their trust has been placed in their power to manipulate and use the world to create what they perceive they must have. And it is very, very different than the trust of the one awakened in God, who knows that whatever arises and passes away in the field of space and time is inconsequential, because that mind is so identified with being the presence of love that the body-mind could contract cancer tomorrow and say, who cares? The mind that rests in freedom has learned to transfer trust and loyalty to love. That mind has come to enjoy the peace that comes with only loving. For what harm can come to the mind that simply loves, who looks upon all things and sees its perfect innocence and plays in the kingdom provided by that one's Father, the kingdom of the body-mind, the kingdom of space and time, the kingdom of the power to choose love over fear. This is why I suggest this simple thought. Suffering comes from being identified with form, whether it be the body, a belief, a career, or a context of experience of any kind. For all experience comes and goes. Liberation and deep peace come from being identified with content. By content, we simply mean the matrix or the source out of which all possibilities are possible. It is like a musician who comes to appreciate the field of silence out of which notes can arise in a certain sequential order, in order to create a beautiful melody. If it were not for the silence between the notes, no song could have ever touched your heart. The matrix of love, which is the presence of the Father or the Mother, the pure intelligence, the field in which all things arise and pass away and never change, that field is like a canvas upon which the grand artist paints. But the master artist knows that without the canvas there is nothing, and therefore honors the blank canvas first. Limiting beliefs naturally crumble as the soul awakens. Loyalty and trust are significant things to ponder. There is a process of growth, of course, for each time you begin to see that what you have placed your trust in cannot really, truly fulfill the soul. It is as though a structure crumbles. Now, what is actually occurring? You, as infinite being, have merely realized that you have been hoodwinked, and you are withdrawing value from what you placed your trust in. That feels like a crumbling, and it literally is a crumbling at the subtle level of energy that constructs a perceptual belief system about the nature of experience. For instance, to give you a simple example, if one believes that they must have coffee every morning in order to get going, and then later in life, for whatever reason, they come to see that they never needed it at all, they may go ahead and enjoy their coffee, but it will never be for the same reason. That structure of belief will crumble, and they will literally see life differently. Each and every one of you can pause in this lesson right now and merely ponder what structures of belief have crumbled in your life. Has it not always led to a sense of greater expansion, deeper wisdom, a more certain knowing? In other words, life proceeds from illusion to reality. As the soul awakens, it literally feels a sense of expansion and growth. But the growth has nothing at all to do with the body getting bigger, or the bank account growing or having more children. You all know that as wisdom is reawakened in the mind, there is a sense of growth, and that kind of growth becomes all attractive to you. Just want to see. Okay, 7 pages until the end. Let's see the number of the page. 364. Okay. Place your trust in the love that birthed you. When you become so much a lover of the wisdom of perfect union with God, so that that is all that matters to you, you are already 90% free of illusion, and the world will never have the power to truly bind you again. Place then your trust in the love that birthed you. When I say birthed you, I am not talking about the body. I'm not talking about your personal history, your ego. The you that I refer to exists within and prior to all of that. It is as thought your Father has created you as the powerful ocean in which you have been, knowingly or unknowingly, emanating all of the waves that have become your particular experience as the soul. That is what God has created. Trust the one that created you as an infinite source of awareness that is perfectly free in every moment to decide what experience it will have. Why is this important? Your world would teach you, and the level of perception of the body-mind would say, well, I want to have an experience. Oh, I just had a thought of having an ice cream cone. Well, I've experienced driving my body to the ice cream store and eating ice cream. That event does occur. But if you look closely, you will discover that your experience is the value you place upon the event. I know that seems subtle to you, but it is very, very important. Experience actually occurs nowhere but in the field of the mind. You could just as easily go to the store and eat ice cream and have your mind on a book that you are writing, or the remembrance of a great love affair or a great movie from the night before, and never even notice the taste of the ice cream. You get home and your wife or husband says, well dear, did you have a good trip to the ice cream store? And you reply, oh, that's right, I did stop at the store. You know, to tell you the truth, I don't even remember what I had. So, where does experience occur? It does not occur at the level of the body-mind itself. It occurs at the level of mind, and mind shapes experience according to what it chooses to value. Now, does that mean that you just drop doing anything in the world? No. An awakened being in the world simply delights and has fun from a state of clarity of knowing that whatever they choose to do with the body-mind is merely a free choice based on what they are choosing to value in the moment. And if they own that valuation, they can totally enjoy the experience they are having. Then, they have come full circle. If they want to design a website, if they want to be a banker, if they want to be a dancer or a prostitute or a farmer, it no longer matters, for the mind that is awake, while the body lasts, merely sees experience arise and pass away. It takes total ownership and realizes that it has the power to create its experience as being delightful, fulfilling, and a blessing, regardless of what the body-mind is actually doing. There can be no difference. It does not matter if you are a teacher standing at a boat on the shores of a great lake in what you now call Israel, talking to a horde of hundreds, or perhaps seeing if you can actually make a few fish and loaves of bread, feed 5,000, and then saying, oh, how about that? That was fun. There is no difference between that and driving a truck in New York City and delivering frozen fish, if the mind within the soul is taking complete ownership and delighting in the mystery of creating experience and choosing to bring enjoyment and freedom to that moment. This is why events of the world can never bind you. All suffering comes because of the interpretation you are overlaying over events. And in that very moment, you have used God's gift to you, which is the power of awareness, to create its experience. Once again, my crucifixion was my final learning lesson in the realization that I had broken the spell. I was no longer under the spell of the egoic mind, or the body-mind. I merely looked upon my experience and decided to freely be in a state of love in the midst of that context. You are free to be in a state of love in the midst of any context, as you watch and observe the waves of temporarily come and go. As you see that happen, and as you develop that capacity within yourself, through the choice for love, through the choices for forgiveness, and through the choices to be happy instead of right, to live in innocence and wonder instead of certainty and dread, and to rest in true knowledge, true knowing, rather than the relative knowledge of the world, you come to see that all that is arising and passing away can never leave you. That loss is impossible. For where the mind chooses to rest in love, all things that arise and pass away are remembered and restored and sanctified. There is perfect peace. Though a beloved friend passes away in what you call death, because you do not identify the friend with the body-mind, and because you do not then perceive that you can no longer love your friend, you just enjoy loving your friend. As you abide in love, you begin to experience the reality that nothing dies. Nothing dies. For pure intelligence can go nowhere. One of your scientists once said, "I think I have figured it out. Energy is what makes up everything, and it can never go anywhere. It can only change form, but the essence or the energy remains." This is not unlike a mystic or a sage or a great savior or a messiah or a very ordinary everyday person waking up and saying, "You know, only love is real, and in love all things exist forever. I am not separate, I am not lost, I am free." The great journey in the field of space and time is to allow the awareness to settle into your beingness, so that that quality of awareness permeates and pervades the level of the egoic mind, the level of interpretation, and the level of perception of the body-mind, the apparatus of the brain and nervous system. All of that is still going on, but you begin to pervade it with the growing awareness that only love is real, that I have the power to extend forgiveness. Every time the mind trusts in the one that created it and rests in that peace, a miracle occurs. Every time that you have extended forgiveness, a miracle has occurred, for you have withdrawn valuation of an old perceptual system and chosen for reality. The enlightened sage is merely one who has cultivated the practice of training the mind to choose the reality of love under all circumstances. Through that one's many successes, they have come to know that what they have chosen is true. God has been revealed. Loyalty is no longer a question. What will you choose to value? Trust and loyalty then must flow from the mind and its power to choose what it will value. Be you, therefore, loyal to love. Be you, therefore, loyal to your perfect union with God. Trust that one who birthed you and who has been guiding your journey home all along. For remember, I have said often that from the very moment the dream of separation began to be dreamed, already the answer was provided, called the Holy Spirit, the right-mindedness in the depth of your being that cannot be touched. Rest in the right-mindedness of choosing only love. Extend complete freedom to the waves that come and go. In this sense, the weather is a wave. Caesar is a wave. Your spouse is a wave. That is, as you would look at them as a body mind. They are a wave. They will come and they will go. But if you abide in the field of love, you abide in timelessness and eternity. You abide as the spaciousness that embraces all things, trusts all things, and thereby transcends all things. Here, then, beloved friends, is the pure essence of loyalty and trust. If your loyalty is in anything that can crumble, you have merely not yet fully chosen to place your loyalty in that which cannot crumble. If your trust is in a requirement that individuals act and behave in a certain way, you have not yet come to trust the perfection of love that is already at work in everyone's lives, calling them to deeper levels of remembrance. Little commentary. Many people in our society put their loyalty on material things, and they try to have a lot of money, many cars, one house or two or three, or they want to possess a lot of things, and all that will crumble, will stay here when this person will continue his or her journey in the afterlife. And in this afterlife, there is a lot of places where we can go, but we will go at a place in affinity with other persons who are similar to us, with the kind of loyalty similar to us. So if you put your loyalty more in love, in God, in spiritual things, activities, in solidarity with people, this is what you will find after. Found? No, you will find. So our loyalty is not only for the consequences in our present life, but also for what we will have after. And when you put your loyalty in spiritual qualities that you want to develop, you will have that inside of you for eternity. But when it is put in material things that will crumble, nothing of that will stay for you. So it's wise sometimes to think about eternity and not just think about a short term in our life. See then the perfection of all events. For the waves that arise in the temporarily called the world have no power in and of themselves. They are already held in the arms of a perfectly loving God, and each event truly serves no purpose save to nudge that soul, that spark of pure awareness or intelligence to look deeper beyond its illusions. When anyone attacks you or projects upon you, they are merely crying out in their own fear and insanity. The awakened one looks upon them with love and merely says, "Oh, is that so? Well, very well. Yes, thank you for sharing. Have a nice day." And goes on trusting and lets their life be an expression of the loyalty that they give only to the voice of the only one within them. Look and see where you are with trust and loyalty in your own life. Simply ask yourself, where are my idols? What am I attached to and why? Remember that those with thoughts of I and mine know not the true nature of things. When you say my car or my wife, you are not dealing with reality, for all things belong to God. There is nothing that you can possess except the reality of what you are, as the thought of love in form. When you choose love, you become free. Come to see then that when you choose love, you become free. Who can harm you? What gain or loss can affect your peace? In each moment, as you remember love, you give love. Everywhere you go and everywhere you see is touched in a quiet and secret place. They may know why they feel attracted to being in your presence, but you will know. You are simply choosing to be, and mark my words well here, you are merely choosing to finally awaken and be God incarnate. For God is but love, and when you love, there is only God. Three pages until the end. Remember then, always, beloved friends, that that which crumbles can only be form and not content. Love can never crumble, because it is the content that is the presence of God's reality. Because love is content, it is unchangeable, unchanged, and unchanging forever. Perfect freedom comes to any mind that shifts its identity from the level of the body, from the level of the interpretive mind, from the level of the egoic mind that insists its constructs are real, correct, and valuable, and becomes identified with love. Identity with what is conditional and temporal can never produce what is unconditional and eternal. The power of mind can leap from the conditioned to the unconditional through the decision to place value only on that. Well, do I understand that what arises within the body-mind is a fear of survival? Yet it is a useless fear, since the body-mind, from the moment of its conception, has been marching inexorably toward its demise? Demise? I don't know. I'm not sure for the pronunciation. And if the body-mind itself is completely powerless, which it is, to exist as eternity, everything dependent on the body-mind must crumble with it. Everything then, built as a house upon the foundation of your having, become identified with the perceptual level of the body-mind, the interpretations of the thinking mind, and the insistence of the egoic mind on being right are all like floors in a house built on a foundation of error and illusion. You might as well own it now. They are going to crumble. Illusions have no life. That is what makes them illusions. Only in reality is life finally found. Yes, you do feel that crumbling going on, for what crumbles in the mind sends a shock wave like a ripple down through the body-mind, through the brain, through the nervous system, and the body shakes and groans, and maybe it complains and cries, but it is nothing more than the crumbling of illusion. Eventually, the body itself must crumble as an illusion. For the mind that grows in the radiance of its awakening must finally put away the entire physical dimension as a toy outgrown. The body-mind, the nervous system, can no longer contain you, For what you value is the radiance of merely being the presence of God's love. You begin to realize that you do not need a body-mind at all in order to extend love. While the body-mind lasts, love it, embrace it, allow it. Do not expect great things from it. Just use it as a temporary communication device. Since what you want is love, practice teaching only love. Teaching love is not talking about love, not about the philosophy of love, and not about the metaphysics of love. You teach love by being loving in each moment. And you can only be loving by allowing yourself to feel the presence of love in and as your moment-to-moment experience. Because love is unconditional, you are free now. No set of circumstances must change before you have the power to be in love. This is the same thing as saying that God is given to you by grace in each moment and you are asked only to open and receive. Only love is real. Only love allows you to transcend the great fear, the great suffering that comes only from a temporary mistaken identity problem, an authority problem. You think your construct of the world is your authority. You think the body-mind is who you really are. This is merely an identity problem, an authority problem. When you come to know that you are merely the expression of that one, pure spirit, love, you are free from the world. Now, will the world get it? Will the world say, "Oh, I'm really glad that you are free"? Of course not, since the world is the attempt to be other than the truth of the kingdom. Therefore, when anyone projects upon you at any time, when anyone is in any way anything but loving, it can only be because they are still choosing to insist on the rightness of their construct of the sensory data that has come through their nervous system, which they have been identified with. In other words, they are living in illusion. Only love is real. If you want to be with one who is sane and awake, be only with one who chooses to teach only love. Let those be your friends. Let those be your playmates. Let those be your lovers and your spouses, for only they are capable of honoring the truth that is true always and seeing it as the very essence of your soul. That is why there is a great attraction to anyone who is awake, for they see you. They see you to your essence, because they see from their own. These two are but one and the same, for the Holy Son of God is one. The Holy Daughter of God is one. The Holy Child of God is one. Therefore, choose love and transcend the suffering that is the world. Review where you have placed your loyalty. Look well, then, beloved friends, over the next 30 days. Because, I have said in another video, each lesson was supposed to be read and reread and put in practice for 30 days, because it was given at the rhythm of one lesson each month. But me, I record that very rapidly, every 2 or 3 days. But the 35 lessons, it was for almost 3 years. And people who receive that can practice what was in the lesson for 30 days, 4 weeks. Okay. Enjoy merely looking at where you have placed your loyalty in the past and where you are placing it now. Look at the grand journey that you have made. What on earth has changed your loyalty from your teddy bear to God, if not God herself or himself? Him, her, it's God. Think not, then, that you have been apart from that one, for in each moment of your experience, even as you believed in the illusions that the body's eyes would show you,